love to get you on a slow boat to China, all to myself alone. Get you and keep you in my arms evermore. Leave all your lovers weeping on the faraway shore. Out on the briny with the moon big and shiny, melting your heart of stone. I'd love to get you on a slow boat to China, all to myself alone. A slow boat to China, it's a sort of a code for something taking a long time, and it certainly took a long time in 1986 when I went to China for the first time on a travelling scholarship paid for by Williams College, Massachusetts. I travelled all over China and even into Tibet. It wasn't easy to get around in those communist days, much more difficult than today. And I was lucky to, for part of the trip, to attach myself to a group of American tourists. Well, they weren't really tourists, they were American Express representatives who were looking to set up business taking tour parties to China. And that made me made certain places available that weren't available at all to tourists, like, for instance, Tibet. So that was useful, very useful. And here's some of the things I made. The tour party I'm talking about who are here looking at a museum in Xi'an, the ancient capital of China, and I call this piece two US tour groups in Xi'an Museum viewing one another. And there they are, the two tourist groups. One was black and one was white. And it was extraordinary, that was, to see that within the context of China. And in fact, it was more sort of bizarre in a way than the actual works they were looking at. And I photographed this entirely using a stills which I made from a video camera. I didn't take a stills camera on the whole trip. I took a video camera, which was a first for me. Then I made, of course, I think I've shown this before, the Great Wall of China, again with a video camera. And this one, which was the buried terracotta army, which in those days it was illegal to photograph, but I managed to photograph it, and the Americans, American Express people came in useful, because when the guards saw me with the family who wanted the film back with the camera, they surrounded me and made a bit of a kerfuffle, and I pulled the film out and of course I switched it with another one. So that's how I managed to get that out with Chairman Mao. You can see right at the top of it, nothing much has changed. But it was the trip to Tibet that was the most extraordinary, because here was a country that didn't want to be occupied at all, and there were some nasty scenes there. I saw a fight taking place on a bus between Chinese army men and the bus driver. I thought we'd all be killed on there. I saw a professor who said about how he'd been imprisoned quite brutally, and some other things I won't go into, but it was an eye-opener for me. And since then I joined the Tibetan Action Group for a time, quite long, for many years after that, because I was so shocked by it. Here's one of the more pleasant scenes, which was the Lhasa carpet factory. There's the manager with his staff in the Lhasa carpet factory. And here's one I actually found, a Tibetan department store, believe it or not. But then, at 17,800 feet, I photographed this, and the mountain at the back, you can see, is, I think that was Kanchenjunga. But it was there, when I took that photograph, that I had to get one of the Americans to hold me up, because I was suffering from mountain sickness and altitude sickness at that height. It made me very ill actually, and to carry on doing it, and I was so faint using the video camera and photographing that. And it was there that I thought about how lonely I was. And if you've ever been in a situation where you're surrounded by lots of people and lots of things and you think yourself very lonely, and I felt lonely at that time because I had nothing to go back to in terms of going back to England. I was going back to America, and my wife had left me and taken our child Pinny, and so I was very much on my own. And it sort of brought it back to me how lonely you can be, and often when something like that happens, when I'm feeling ill, and also in these extraordinary surroundings, you can sort of like focus the mind in a way that it may not want you focusing. But I did manage to get back. Here we go then. I'd love to get you on a slow boat to China, all to myself, alone. Get you and keep you in my arms evermore. Leave all your lovers weeping on the faraway shore, out on the briny, with the moon big and shiny, melting your heart of stone. I'd love to get you on a slow boat to China, all to myself.